What's good, everyone? Shout out to the mighty LDBC. Y'all know what it is. It's your boy, Jared O'Levin Green, with another installment of the Southern Baller Show on another Sunday, man. Hope everyone's having a blessed day. I already see some folks in this chat, 86 Ghosts. Say, what's up, man? What's up, brother? And Coach already coming in early, man. Appreciate y'all, man. Appreciate y'all. Yo, when y'all come in, man, like, share. If it's your first time, make sure you subscribe, and share to your folks, man. But Coach 67 Sports TV, my co-host, man, my brother. How you doing?
Man, I'm blessed and highly favored this afternoon. How y'all gentlemen doing?
Can't complain at all, brother. Can't complain. And JB, how you
Blessed as
doing, man?
well, bro. Oh, I was just about to say blessed as well, man. Excited to do another show with y'all boys, man. Let's get it.
All right. Man, let's get into it, man. So, y'all heard about the so-called beef that is going on uh, between Floyd Mayweather and Roy Jones Jr. Uh, it's foolishness, but just want to. I got a video I want to show y'all. Fair use YouTube. I'm gonna let my boy, one of my favorite comedians, Shula King, kind of tell you what's going on in his comedic point of view. Let me know if y'all can hear it.
Ladies and gentlemen, Roy Jones Jr. and Floyd Money Mayweather been going back and forth on the internet like they 15 damn years old. Roy Jones Jr. said Floyd Mayweather would not beat Sugar Ray Leonard in a boxing match. Floyd Mayweather responds by posting clips of Roy Jones getting knocked out. Roy Jones has been knocked out a few times, and that's all right. That's okay. One of the people that knocked him out, I think.
That's basically it. I didn't want he pretty much tell you the gist of what's going on, so I didn't want to go any further. Salute to Shula King, funny comedian.
Y'all go subscribe.
Y'all go subscribe. So basically, he was on the top a YouTube channel talking, his top 5, and Roy mentioned that Floyd Money Mayweather is not in his top 5. And in addition to what Shula King just said, he's not beating Sugar Ray Leonard. So Floyd got a hold of it, and he's on, and through social media, he sent a video of Antonio Tarver knocking him the hell out. So ever since then, they've been going back and forth. Coach, what's your opinion on all this, man? And people talking about pushing a fight, like Mike Tyson and Roy Jones, or Jake Paul or Roy Jones, or Jake Paul and Mike Tyson's foolishness like that. I think they need to sit their old ass down somewhere. But what's your opinion?
First of all, can y'all hear me?
I sure can. We sure can.
Yeah,
We can hear you, brother.
you know, Spectrum still extra trash. I'm standing on that. You dig what I'm saying? But anyway,
Right.
Truthfully speaking, it's childish and it's immature. You know, it kind of reminds me of. We're just gonna use the NBA for an example. Like, Michael Jordan and Isaiah Thomas still got beat from all them years. Uh, Players from different sports still having beef all these years after the fact. To me, it's immature. And I'm not gonna lie, Roy Jones Jr. has always been sensitive. I don't know if y'all heard about the story between him and Fat Joe and the Terror Squad. Have y'all heard that story before?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Fat Joe was in an interview saying that Roy almost got shot up. But go ahead.
Yeah, essentially, what transpired was Fat Joe had this hit song called "Lean Back," and Fat Joe and Roy Jones Jr. They were cool. So, in one portion of the song, Fat Joe said even Roy Jones was forced to lean back, right? And Roy Jones Jr. got offended. So there was just one particular club he knew Fat Joe and the Terror Squad was going to be there. He came 10 deep. He had a couple of his people, and he had this local rapper named Chopper Style. He was like a bounce rapper from New Orleans. He's from the city. Anyway, Fat Joe was like 50 to 100 deep, but for whatever reason, Fat Joe walked ahead of his people, and he was by himself. And when he got to a certain portion of the club, he pulled a curtain back. Roy Jones Jr. and his entourage was there. And Roy Jones Jr., I guess, planned on, piecing him up because, he a trained fighter, he got professional hands, and he planned on dipping. But essentially, Fat Joe copped the plea, and he was like, look, man, it's just hip-hop. But if you knock me out, basically what's going to transpire is these dudes, they're going to murk you, you know what I'm saying? So he was like, just hip-hop, and he copped his plea or whatever, and then he left. Then after that, Fat Joe people finally caught up to him, and they asked him, what happened, and he was like, man, Roy Jones Jr. tried to, stun on me, whatever. And they went running behind Roy Jones. They exchanged some words, but nothing had transpired. But had he knocked Fat Joe out, yeah, they probably would have murked him. Ain't no two ways about it, you know what I'm saying? So Roy Jones Jr. has been synonymous for being sensitive. I mean, if you comparing the two,
He even got beef
like,
with Champ because something Champ said. Well, Champ was actually
say that again?
from the Champ. Yeah, he got a problem with Deontay Wilder because Deontay Wilder had said, but Deontay Wilder said something in defense of himself, his heavyweight reign. You didn't know that?
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I thought neither.
Man, that's
Shout out to Drew Titan in his
crazy.
channel because
Yeah, Drew Titan.
we got that from.
Yeah, go ahead, JB.
Yeah. So Drew Titan had Roy on there in one show, and then Roy said it himself he's not a fan of Deontay Wilder, so that came out his mouth. And I think it's because
yeah.
I might be wrong. Somebody correct me if they watch the show. I think Champ said that he might have been in, Roy might have had something to do with, steroid allegations or something like that. So.
Oh yeah, he did pop out into that for steroid.
Okay. But you a cooking coach. I just remind me. Go ahead.
Yeah, but I mean, clearly Roy Jones Jr. he's hypersensitive. He has a huge ego. He one of my all-time favorite fighters, of course. Wilder's at the top of that list at this juncture. But at the end of the day, sometimes in life, despite how great you have been in the past, you need to kind of humble yourself a little bit. But in terms of Floyd Mayweather Jr. and Roy Jones Jr. head to head, if you ask me who's better in their prime, it's not even close. It's by a landslide to me. Roy Jones Jr. was far better in his prime. In terms of who had a better career, I think Floyd Mayweather Jr. had a better career. I think Floyd Mayweather Jr. definitely made more money. Like Roy Jones Jr. said, basically Roy Jones Jr. was king of the hill, and that's what he was. He was on top of the throne, and he pretty much was trying to, knock everybody off that came up to challenge. Whereas in the second phase of his career, first phase of Floyd Mayweather Jr. career, he fought the best possible competition he could fight. Whereas in the back half, he cherry picked, and he fought the fights that were garner him the most attention and the biggest money. And he left a lot of fights on the table. I felt he could have fought Paul Williams. He never fought him. He could have fought Winky Wright. He never fought him. He could have fought, individuals like Keith Thurman and Sean Porter. He never fought those individuals. Whereas somebody like Roy Jones Jr., he fought literally everybody he could fight
in his weight
when he
class.
was in his prime. Yeah, in his weight class. I think the only individual he really didn't fight, and it wasn't Roy's fault, Darius Mekashevsky, he was over there in Germany. He never wanted to come to the U.S. He wanted Roy Jones Jr. to come to Germany, and it wasn't going to happen, based on what happened with Roy in terms of him getting robbed of his gold medal in Olympics. So at the end of the day, Roy Jones Jr. pretty much fought everybody. I felt like he should have fought Antonio Tarver at light heavy, then moved up to heavy and fight John Ruiz, but he did it the opposite way. And I think he wasn't ever the same after that. And I think at the end of the day, I think Floyd Mayweather Jr., he was a cherry pick the back end of his career. And in addition to that, he really embraced being a bad guy in the heel persona. 7-8 was saying that. Unfortunately, even though I feel like Devin the Dream Haney is an honorable young man and I really like him, I think at this stage in his career, he really needs to probably go that route. If he's trying to make the most possible money he can make, I think if he does that the way Floyd Mayweather Jr. did, I think he'll get the bag the way Floyd did. Because it really was to a point in Floyd's career that basically people just were paying to see him get his behind kicked. And it never happened. And that's why he made so much money. So, but I to a certain degree, I kind of agree with Floyd. I don't know if a prime Floyd Mayweather Jr. would have beat Sugar Ray Leonard. That's just my personal opinion. Even though, people pointed out how Floyd essentially had the same style as his dad, and Sugar Ray Leonard beat the brakes off him.
Oh, he beat the brakes off scene.
Yeah, he did. But, looking at Floyd Mayweather Jr. and, him using the Philly shell, James Toney used the Philly shell, and we saw what prime Roy Jones Jr. did to James Toney. So at the end of the day, they both over the hill and past their prime in terms of being able to physically get in the ring. And not only that, from a weight standpoint, they can never fight each other anyway, because when Roy Jones Jr. was robbed of his gold medal in a 1988 Olympics, he was a junior middleweight. And Floyd Mayweather Jr. finished his professional career as a junior middleweight. And he never made it to the full 154-pound limit. Roy Jones Jr. got as high as 200 pounds. So even if they want to fight like right now in 2025, there's no way Roy Jones Jr. will be able to lose enough weight to get down to fight Floyd Mayweather Jr. So at the end of the day, I think it's much to do about nothing. You got two guys with two huge egos that were, number one and number two at one point respectively, pound for pound in the sport of boxing. So, their glory has passed them. Hopefully they could squash the beef and just move on. But in terms of an actual fight, an exhibition, whatever the case may be, it's never going to happen. But, Roy Jones Jr., he one of these type of cats. He want all the smoke, him, And salute to my brother Brent Fox.
Salute, Brent. Thank you for joining us, man. And my other co-host, man, brother Joe Town, man, he said salute to the family at the Art Museum with my daughter. We'll be listening, man. Go ahead and do your thing with your daughter, man.
Well, look at Joe getting some culture in, man. That's all right.
What's up, my boy Brent?
What up, JB?
And speaking of Joe Townsend, if y'all are drinkers or you just like some bourbon around the house or for special occasions, Joe Townsend is in partnership with this company, Old Hillside Bourbon. I bought me a bottle, and even though I'm not a drinker, I drunk some, and my partner drunk some, and we enjoyed it, man. So y'all get you some of this bourbon, man. So to put in your house for special occasion, to bring it out to family, show off, and so I can sit around and talk about good times, man. But keep it away from the family drunk. Keep it away from the family drunk. But yeah, go support that brother. They also got the website. If there's no old hillside located in your area, you can just go to the website. Just go to Google and put old hillside, and the website will pop up. Old Hillside Bourbon. Thank you. Joe Townsend put the link in the chat. So there you go. No excuse, y'all, if y'all interested. Thank you, Coach. And before I go to the next brother, let me salute to the people that can't coming in, man. Man, my beautiful sister, Shawala Ya. She said, Gerald 011 Green, Coach Brent, JB, chat, blessings. Appreciate you, sister, always supporting and just showing love. Memphis man, Anthony Bolton, he said, salute. My brother, growing with soul. Salute great brothers. Thank you, man. Appreciate you for always supporting. And please support this brother when it comes to planting. On YouTube, ain't nothing like him. My brother, Mr. Shelton, LDBC or nothing reloaded. Oh Lord, Brock, MF, and Purdy wouldn't be acting like this. Yeah, I guess. And then my other brothers, man, always supporting. Motivation to be a millionaire. He said, salute Jared, Coach 67, JB, and chat. And then relax and calm rain. Salute Jared, Coach Panel, and chat. Appreciate y'all, man. Already said what up to 86 Ghosts, man. Appreciate you, brother. But moving on. Oh, it's all love, brother. The show will say, all my family drunk, so they had too many drinks. Oh, Lord. Well, that means you can get you a bottle. Well, appreciate you, Mr. Shelton. Okay. Brother Brent, what's your opinion on this foolishness? This beef between Roy Jones Jr. and Floyd Mayweather?
Well, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, it's disappointing. Those are two of my personal favorite boxers. Now Floyd, I can kind of understand why he is, why there would be some sort of beef just given his personality. Roy, I kind of hate that. But then again, he has said some disparaging things about Deontay Wilder. He said some disparaging things about Earl Spence at one point. So, that's disappointing too. But to Coach's point, Roy actually captured your imagination when he was fighting. There just seemed to be at one point nothing he couldn't do in the ring. And with Pretty Boy Floyd, he was a masterful and skilled tactician that, at any given moment could actually take you out. But Roy just captured your imagination. There was something very special about Roy in his prime that kind of made people flock to boxing in the mid to late 90s and early 2000s. So, with that, I would say that Roy had the better effect. Yes, Floyd had the better career on paper and everything else. But for me, just as a fan, learning about boxing and everything else, he definitely captured your imagination. But yeah, nonetheless, it's disappointing to see those two just kind of go back and forth. And it's really another poor representation of us as Black people. But that's a whole nother topic, man. I could go on that. But.
And to be honest with you, I think it's more competitive, especially old boxers. Their egos in the way. So I don't know if you catch the beginning, Brent. I played a video a little bit explaining basically the gist of how it all started. So basically, Roy Jones was on a YouTube channel, and he was given basically he said that Floyd Mayweather could not beat a prime Sugar Ray Leonard, and then he said, in addition to that, he said that Floyd Mayweather is not in his top five.
Oh, okay.
So,
I think
so
I think it was on
let me add
court.
this, Brent. Let me add this. In
Oh,
addition, and to respond, what Floyd did on social media, he sent a he sent a video of Roy Jones getting knocked out by Antonio Tarver, just being petty.
he's good for that.
Yeah,
Um, he's good for that. Yeah, see the tank video of him and Devin sparring and all of that. So yeah, like I said, I wouldn't put anything petty past Floyd Mayweather Jr. But yeah, it's kind of disappointing to hear that. But yeah, I mean it is what it is. Um, dang, I just yeah, kind of puts me at a crossroads as a fan of theirs, growing up. So
yeah, it's tough, man. They were the greatest, man, both of them. And I know people put emphasis on him being Roy being knocked out. But prior to him, we all know the reason why he got knocked out, him going up in weight, going up and down in weight classes. But prior to that, man, Roy was unbelievable to watch. Like Coach was explaining.
yeah. I don't even think that the Tarver knockout was the most damaging. The most damaging was the Glenn Cough
Glenn
Johnson.
Johnson.
Like that was the most damaging.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought he was dead.
Hey, me too, JB. No BS, man. Me too. I thought, oh man, this man done killed this man. I remember, man, just being frozen, looking at the TV, just hoping that he'll get up. I was like, man, he really Apollo Creeded this man.
Yeah, he did, man. But
Yeah, that was a bad one.
Yeah, that was a bad one. But yeah, that was the most damaging one. But to your point, Jared, yeah, him trying to strip down all that weight and then go right in and fight Tarver, that was a mistake. And then that third fight, he really could have knocked Tarver out, but I think that the knockouts that he suffered from both Tarver and Johnson just had him hesitant to pull the trigger. Like he literally had Tarver laying up against the ropes, getting beat on, and all he really had to do was just keep hitting him in his body and wait for his hands to go down a little bit and just come over the top. He would have had Tarver out of there. But I just those knockouts that he took prior to, he just couldn't pull the trigger.
yeah, man, it was tough to see Roy go down that bad, but it was some of his own fault though.
Yeah.
But JB, going to you, man. What's your thoughts?
Man, two great fighters, two legendary fighters, and two big egos. Um, I'm not going to repeat what some of you brothers said. Some of you went in detail of some of the situations. Just to verify, they both of them got two big egos. I just think that like you said, it's not shouldn't been taken that personal. Roy was just stating his opinion. You know what I'm saying? And people did it with Muhammad Ali. You know what I'm saying? People said that Muhammad Ali would or would not be Rocky Marciano. You know what I'm saying? Stuff like that. And then Ali was saying, he would dust his his ass off. So this type of back and forth has happened before in the generations before us, and it'll still will go on after us. So now, as far as Floyd, came up in an era where Pretty Boy Floyd was a bad boy. I'm not gonna, saying, but what made Floyd great is he adjusted after he stopped knocking people out. You know what I'm saying? Because he had hand injuries, and I think what made Roy special was his athleticism. And when he lost that, And Roy really didn't really have that great defense. It's just athleticism allowed him to get away with a lot of stuff that most fighters would get knocked out for. So when he lost all the athleticism, he started getting caught for whatever reason. Up and down, going up and down the weight. He started getting knocked out bad. You know what I'm saying? So um, both of them, one thing I like about Roy fought everybody, win or lose. Floyd fought most everybody we wanted to see, but not everybody. Like, everybody wanted to see him fight a prime Shane Mosley. He did fight Shane Mosley. When Mosley still a good fighter, but he was older. You know what I'm saying? And then somebody put in the chat Paul Williams. Everybody wanted to see him and Paul Williams, and that would have been a great fight. Paul Williams got a good chin, and he throws a lot of punches. You know what I'm saying? And it keeps coming. So that would have been a great fight. It's just both of them should be ambassadors of sports. Both of them resume as far as Hall of Fame boxers is second to none. So it's just sad to see them going back and forth. I like watching Floyd fight, and I like watching Roy Jones fight. So that's pretty much like what I got to say about that.
Okay. Okay, good take, man. Yeah, and people on the internet talking about they should fight. Um, like in the exhibition, man. No, man, they need to go sit their old ass down somewhere.
Yeah, man, that's
Facts.
completely ignorant. Yeah, that's ignorant.
Yeah, man.
But then again, I know we're gonna probably talk about another former fighter that has been enticed to try to get back in the ring to fight a current fighter. So I know that may be coming up pretty soon. But yeah, that's coming from the same people that want to see Roy and Floyd fight.
Yeah, yeah. These people and these casuals are ridiculous. But anyway, before we move on, anybody want to cook on this topic? Anything else?
I'll
I
just do
think
one.
it's done, bro. Never mind.
Um, I'll do one last thing, and I'll leave it alone. I ain't gonna be long with it.
Go ahead.
Um, with with these fantasy matchups that people want to do, and of course with the emergence of J. Paul, unfortunately, it would not surprise me if they if, if they wound up getting in the ring, especially when Roy actually fought Mike Tyson or got in the ring with Mike Tyson. I don't think it was a fight, but especially with them getting in the ring together, I would not be surprised if something were to happen for them to get in the ring together. I personally would not want to watch that for obvious reasons, but I would. Don't be surprised if it does happen. I mean, that's the kind of world we living in. But that's all.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised either, man. But yeah, let's move on, man. So let's stay on boxing, man. We had some boxing events going over the weekend. Uh, so so a lot of these boxing results pissed a lot of people off. So let's go ahead and talk about it. Let's talk about Daniel Dubois versus Usyk. A lot of people are mad at Daniel Dubois. The UK media tried to basically give Daniel Dubois out, saying that he did the best he could. He shouldn't, lower his head. But a lot of us feel he didn't do enough body work, like he did in the first fight against Usyk, which him going to the body in the first fight you could obviously see that it was bothering Usyk. Usyk was complaining to the refs and everything until finally that controversial knockdown with an uppercut to the gut that had Usyk gasping for air, and they called it a low blow, but it wasn't a low blow. It was not a low blow. But in the second fight, we tapped in yesterday. Daniel Dubois went headhunting. He was trying to knock Usyk out. He didn't. He only went to the body. And coach, help me out. He only went to the body 3 or 4 times.
If I counted correctly, I think like 2 or 3 times the entire fight. Stupid to me.
And Sister Shaw was like, yeah, make sure I'm not tripping either. How many times he go to the body? And I think you're right, Coach. But long story short, Dubois was caught coming in with a hard counterpunch that Usyk sat on in the 5th round. He knocked him down first. And then Dubois was trying to shake the cobwebs out and try to be aggressive, and then walked into a counterpunch that Usyk sat on and basically KO'd him. Daniel Dubois did not make it to 10. Or excuse me, he did not make the 10 count. So Coach, let me go with you. What did you think about the Daniel Dubois Usyk 2 fight?
Honestly, I picked Daniel Dubois, but I didn't think Daniel Dubois was going to come into the fight and fight a stupid fight. As a coach, if I'm playing against a team and I know they are good at stopping the pass and I want to run the ball, I'm not just going to keep throwing the ball. That's stupid. And to me, I don't know what it is about Alexander Usyk that everybody wants to outbox him. Fury tried to outbox him. Daniel Dubois tried to outbox him. Anthony Joshua tried to outbox him. The irony of Alexander Usyk is all of these fights he's had in the heavyweight division, the person that gave him the best fight is essentially a journeyman in Derek Chisora. Derek Chisora fought the right fight. He tried to rough him up. He tried to play, try to be a bully. He tried to be physical with him. He tried to manhandle him. That's the fight that heavyweights need to fight. You cannot fight a guy that coming up from cruiserweight, that was the undisputed cruiserweight champion and is now the undisputed heavyweight champion, and try to get here and be slick and outbox him. You got to be physical. You got to be aggressive. And we know that he is susceptible to some good body work. And that's the crazy thing about it. In the first fight, they say it was a low blow. It wasn't a low blow. It was on a belt line. And Usyk had his shorts up a little bit high for my liking. He hit him on the belt line. He was hurt. And then after that, Daniel Dubois didn't go back to the body none of the entire fight. And he made the same mistake again yesterday. So at the end of the day, I think had he fought the right fight, I'm going to keep it real. If I'd have been in Daniel Dubois' shoes, maybe outside of using a jab, man, I pretty much would have went all to the body and keep it a buck. But that's just my personal opinion. Daniel Dubois fought a stupid fight. And at the end of the day, I think that's the reason why Alexander Usyk, I know people going to talk about it, and they've been talking about it, how, Wilder's done. But I'm like, no, if Usyk is everything y'all saying he is, let him fight Joseph Parker and let him fight Champ. Because I'm going to be honest with you. Usyk ain't stupid. Usyk done ducked Wilder for a reason. He knows what time it is. He don't want no smoke. So at the end of the day, I'm going to be honest with you. I wouldn't be surprised if Alexander Usyk tried to ride off into the sunset saying he accomplished everything he needs to accomplish in the heavyweight division. But those 2 fights are still on the table. If you want to prove that, because some people saying like he one of all times greatest heavyweights of all time, man, cut it out. I mean, don't get me wrong. I think he a good heavyweight champ, but to say he an all-time great, pump the brakes.
Yeah,
He
he's a
beat
great heavyweight champ, but now all-time great. No, I
nah,
think people.
nah. But let him fight Joseph Parker, and he definitely before you hang it up, he got to fight Wilder. I don't care what nobody say. I mean, he ain't proved nothing to me until he beat Champ. You dig? But back to y'all, fellas.
Okay. Damn, people must be mad about this boxing because I see a lot of viewers dropped off. But yeah, people is not happy with boxing right now. Brother Brent, what was your opinion on the fight?
I'm in agreement with Coach. Dubois did not fight a very intelligent fight. I had a show last Thursday that was just stating that, hey, if there's going to be a point in time where Dubois actually faces some adversity, and we'll have to see what happens. Unfortunately, we did. But I think that things would have been a lot easier for him if he actually just, focused an attack on the body of Usyk. It's well known that Usyk doesn't like it to the body. Dubois has a decent right hand. Why not, throw a left hook right hand combination just to the gut to make him uncomfortable and just kind of let him know what type of fight he's in for from the beginning. And then with anybody, if you hit them in the body enough times, their guard is just going to slip down and lower, and then you could probably get off the head shots that you want. But I mean, that's boxing 101, and I think that maybe his corner should be held accountable as well for not, kind of reiterating or trying to reinforce that, hey, let's just at the beginning of this fight, let's just go ahead and try to go to the body. And then, he'll eventually wear down, and then, then you can have a field day, to the head or whatever. Pause. But yeah, it was just not a very intelligent game plan. And to Coach's point, you don't want to outbox a boxer. If you have a size and weight advantage like Dubois did, and I hate to use this as a reference, but because this person cheated. But you can use your body weight and just lean on people like Fury did in most of his fights. You'll just use that body and just lean on people and just keep putting pressure and weight on them. And then while you're doing that, you could probably pop some shots in the rib cage, while you have his head down. I'm not saying that that's a legal thing to do, but it still does damage. But, none of those tricks or tips were implemented or tried or mentioned. I don't think. Maybe I missed it, but I don't think that they were mentioned in his corner. So his corner had to come up with a better game plan or fight plan. And, Dubois, I don't know what happened in training camp to where he just would not do anything with the body, but it was frustrating to watch. I'll say that.
Yeah, it was.
But yeah, unfortunately, Dubois got what he deserved. I mean, that sounds callous or mean, but if you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing, and you know that you had success going to this man's body, and you still refuse to do it for whatever reason, then yeah, I mean, I don't know what else to say about that.
Yeah, man, and so you're right. You're 100% right. And salute to brother Trill Will, LDBC. Another salute, family. Appreciate you, man, for stopping by. Always supporting. Appreciate you, man. Yeah, Mr. Shelton said no body work at all. None. JB, what do you got on the Usyk and Dubois 2 fight?
Short and simple. He fought a stupid fight like the brother said, and he got his ass whooped. You trying to be a boxer? That's not your archetype. That's not what you do. You know what I'm saying? You can get away with that with guys who think they're boxers, like Anthony Joshua. You know what I'm saying? But uh, as far as the fight, man, I wanted to see. I thought coming in there, I was picking Triple D to lose, and I'm mad because I lost the bet because I picked him to win, and he went in there and felt like he didn't know what to do. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's a ass whooping deserved.
Yeah, man. Yeah, you did pick Usyk to win. That's what you meant first. Yeah, you picked
The
Usyk.
boy,
Excuse me, Dubois to win. But I knew that Daniel. Um, the in my opinion, I feel like the moment he was gonna get into his head what he did to Anthony Joshua and thought he was gonna bully um Usyk. But no, man, do what you had to do a lot what you did the first fight, minus getting TKO. But gonna keep going to that body. Man, he ain't do none of that. And then one of my brothers, man, we just talking about Big Joe Townsend hopped on the panel. What's good? What's going on, brother?
What's going on with y'all? Happy Sunday. How the family doing?
Man, we doing all right. Can't
Man,
complain about
salute, Big
nothing.
Joe.
It's good,
Chubby
everybody. Yeah,
Joe.
I'm on the way. I'm on the way back home now. I figure I hop in and get this good cooking with y'all. You know what I mean?
Sound good to me.
Glad to have you on, brother.
52.
Already. What's good, Brent, JB, Jared, Coach? Happy Sunday, y'all. Happy Sunday.
Happy Sunday, brother. But yeah, we did well first. We go back because you just got on. First, what is your thoughts on that foolishness between Roy Jones Jr. and Floyd Mayweather Jr.? Little beat back and forth beef.
To me, it ain't no different than your drunk uncles getting into an argument at a barbecue. Boy, back in my day, I used to do this. Back in my day, I used to do that. Boy, back in my day, I would have tore you up. Boy, I would have tore you up. That's all that is. They were nowhere in the same weight class to where they fought each other anyway. So, it's just two drunk uncles arguing at a barbecue. You know what I mean? So they're never gonna fight whether they were in their prime or right now. So of course, you know, Roy, he had his opinion, and then Floyd rebuttal by showing, Roy Jones getting dropped and everything, and then Roy wanted to fight, Floyd in the exhibition, which probably won't happen, but hey, um, it's just two drunk uncles talking, and again, if we stay consistent in boxing, Roy can't say too much because he's a known drug cheat, and all the secrets he got in America, he's getting them in Russia, so I ain't got too much sympathy for him either. To me, it's both, it's two raccoons arguing with each other.
Woo!
Oh, boy, went there with the Russian citizenship. That is hilarious. Oh, but also true.
That's some
And I,
truth for
I
your ass.
was and I referred to that, but I didn't say it like Town said it because I didn't have all the details and stuff. I knew he was
Uh,
using.
uh,
That's why he
Hey,
got
hey,
mad at D.
and
Darn it. Go ahead.
hey, in the era of taco hats and eye bucking and whatnot, we calling out cooning all the
Mm.
way across the board. So, if we getting on folks for being drug cheats, Roy Jones was a drug cheat. You know what I mean? So Canelo was a drug cheat at one time, but we still hold it over his head. So to me, I don't look at Roy Jones as a brother. You see where he's at and what he's doing. He ain't giving none of the black Americans the game. He only had like one black fighter, and he tried to make him fight like him, and it didn't work out for him. You know what I mean? So hey, it is what it is. He's a drug cheating raccoon, and then Floyd. You know what I mean? He's just Floyd is Floyd. All lives matter, and I'm not boycotting Gucci. I'm buying all the Gucci. So he is who he is.
There it is.
And in addition to that, Joe, uh, since you're cooking, what was your thoughts on the fight, the Daniel Dubois versus Usyk 2 fight?
I thought it was a good fight. I was going for Daniel Dubois, for him to get his redemption, for him to for him to show and prove, who he is. But I already knew that Usyk, a lot of people they like, oh man, he's good, but somebody gonna beat him. Nobody in this era is gonna beat Usyk. The only person that can beat Usyk is Deontay Wilder. Joshua lost to Usyk twice. Fury lost to Usyk twice. They're not doing a third fight. The boys lost to Usyk twice, so he's beaten a lot of the main guys in this era except Wilder. So Usyk is who he is. He's undisputed heavyweight champion 2 times. He's going down the Hall of Fame. It's going to be anywhere between the top 10, the top 15 best heavyweights. To me, he's not better than Ali. He's not better than Frazier. He's not better than Larry Holmes. He's not even better than Lennox Lewis, but he is a phenomenal heavyweight. But
You're
regarding the
not better
fight
than Evander
yesterday,
Holyfield?
yeah, Evander Holyfield, yeah. Regarding the fight yesterday, one thing I saw that happened early on in the fight was that, Du Bois went in there with pure emotion. As a former athlete, you can't play off of emotion. Emotion only gonna get you so far. You can be ramped up all you want to, and for the first snap. By the time the fourth quarter comes, you're gonna be talking to your opponent, asking them what y'all doing during the summer, and you're finding out y'all got stuff in common and all kind of stuff. So, so so he went in there all tensed up. Obviously he was trying to right the wrong that happened in the last fight. And he definitely wanted to win, but he went in there with the wrong mental stability. And then when he got in there and fought, he ended up having deja vu. He had deja vu and then he realized that he can mess with Usyk. I definitely didn't like how he didn't do no body work. Everybody and their mama knows that Usyk is weak to the body. So go ahead and do some body work. And then y'all, like y'all already said, Derek Chisora fought him the best, but for some reason, when they fight Usyk, everybody wants to be this phenomenal boxer. Nah, you gotta put your elbow to his chest, put him up against the rope, rear him back, do some holding, and then when you hold, clench on his arm. You're gonna have to do some, some nasty work. To throw him off his game. But the boys ain't that kind of fighter, anyways. We all know the boys. We say he's on the spectrum. So I'm sure he's a great fighter, but I'm sure his boxing IQ and his boxing acumen is not the best. So, even if they worked on that in practice, doing training camp, trying to implement that on live TV, make it, that was a huge spectacle. They had the intros was dope. It was sold out, But Usyk has been there before. Usyk has been on the highest stage. Usyk is $100 million fighter. You dig what I'm saying? So, and he's a 2-time champion for a reason. Usyk is just more cerebral, has better footwork and better hand speed. The only way the boys are going to win is do the body work, bully him, and hit him with some heavy shots. You know what I mean? If you want to slow down a fighter who has great footwork, you got to work on the body to slow his legs down. When I saw that the boys didn't do that in the first, second, or third round, I knew it was all over. And like I said, I see the deja vu all over his face because he went from having that emotional rage that he wanted to win to just, well, here I am again. That old saying, well, if you want to know how I got here, that's how he looked. You know what I mean? But shout out to Usyk, and I agree with y'all. I definitely want to see Wilder versus Usyk. I don't think Parker ain't gonna do nothing with Usyk. So to me, I think that I want to see him fight Wilder. If he don't, then he don't. He can say that he already beat the other best guys in this era anyways. But overall, it was a good fight, and it was a good KO by Usyk. He put the boys on his highlight tape not once, but 2 times.
Yeah, he did, man. And he walked right into that counter. He walked right into it, but good shit, Big Joe.
Short out everything.
Yeah, I see what Mr. Shelton and Trill Will talking about. What happened with Tijo Lopez getting slapped by Matias. What happened with that? Anybody got to scoop on
Matias slapped the shit out of him.
Yup, that's what happened.
Yeah. Were they the Pacquiao fight when that happened, or where were you?
I believe so, but all I know is I enjoy somebody slapping the shit out of Tijo Lopez.
I just heard a
And
lot of people say he got slapped.
he slapped him from the top down too.
Yeah, shouts out to Blue Blood for showing the slap. But that's I think they were at a fight. I want to say it's a Pacquiao Barrios fight, and they got into like a heated exchange of words or whatever. They got separated from that, but like later on, there was a crowd building up somewhere, and Matias took the opportunity to just kind of down slap him.
Like I said, he got slapped from the top down to make sure he was trying to knock off his glasses. His glasses, Lopez thought he was looking cool with his glasses kind of hardly on his nose, and Matias kind of like that old school 1940s, get your pussy ass out my face, slap. Yeah.
Like 1970.
All I know is T.O. was talking. All I know is T.O. was talking about how he got hitters and nobody gonna do nothing to me and my dad. You know what I mean? Because we know people. If that's the case, then Matias should have a hard week coming up. You know what I mean? From what I remember, but I think that's all cap anyway.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Ain't Matias Cuban?
Nah, he's pretty.
What is he?
Puerto Rican.
Oh, so that's
he's Puerto Rican. He's related to Shakur Stevenson. He's related to Shakur. He's Puerto Rican.
That's the only problem I have with Mr. Stevenson, man. I'm Puerto Rican now. All right. Okay.
It's funny how I ain't see. Hey, it was a Puerto Rican night when on that Berlanga undercard. I ain't see Shakur have no Puerto Rican flag nowhere. You know what I mean? You're Puerto Rican everywhere else until you're in front of some Puerto Ricans. Hey, nobody ain't called that out, but I seen it.
Ooh, Lord, yeah.
Speaking of Berlanga, Berlanga need to go somewhere and just think about life, because that knockout was so embarrassing.
So, who was at the center? Who was at the sit that lean back thing after he got knocked out? Boy, that was hilarious.
Big Joe.
Because he leaned his ass all the way back.
Yeah.
He leaned back all right.
I was picking him to win, but I guess there's levels. Everybody was going off of that Adames fight.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted Berlanga, but I guess Berlanga ain't that. His IQ, he just really what people try to make what Wilder is. That's Berlanga. He's just a motherfucker that can punch.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, Hamza Shiraz, he did his thing. And then in addition to that, I don't like tell a female whole pairs anyway. You dig what I'm saying? Shout out to Jay Good, because Jay Good been pointing out how he got a couple gift wins. And T.O. got in the comment section on X, which is formerly known as Twitter, and start talking about Jay Good. I'm like, boy, you a whole hoe out here. And I'm glad Sabrina Matias slapped him. Hopefully somebody get Lion Ryan Garcia next. Somebody slap the taste out of his mouth today.
Hell, Rolly did that for us, didn't he?
Yeah, well, just like we talked about.
I think Caleb already slapped him.
Well, I mean, hey, we need somebody black to slap him, though, you did. I'm just saying.
True.
And the thing about it is, we talk about We talk about Daniel Dubois being a cur, but T.O. Kerr too, like you seen. He really don't want no smoke. He try to do all this slick talking, but he don't want no smoke when it really come down to it.
Gangster Lane. Trill was also happy to see Berlango get put in the mop bucket. And Mr. Shelton, you ain't shit talks, but I heard Berlango's a good barber. Maybe he can open up some shops in the New York area. Well, that's a thought. Lion Ryan coach out here dropping bars. Man. True Will said, remember when Berlango was arguing saying that he can say the N-word? Yeah. Yeah, that's what they do. They get a little bit too comfortable and think they can say anything. Look at Mexican OT. Speaking with Mexican OT, let's talk about the fight last night that pissed everyone off, other than the Daniel Dubois fight. That damn Manny Pacquiao versus Mario Barrios fight. So first of all, Manny Pacquiao won the fight. He won the fight. And his wife smartly picked Mario Barrios because they knew they could beat this boy. They were smart enough not to pick Terrence Crawford. That would be execution. Smart enough not to pick Errol Spence. That would have been an execution. Or any of the up and coming young fighters in that weight class that know how to finish you off. Yeah, Trill Will. I ain't see no draw either. But they basically in a nutshell said the fight was a draw. They counted the fight as a draw. And Barrios came out with Mexican OT, the one that's been told black people he can say the N-word and what you gonna do about it. So I was rooting for Manny Pacquiao. And he won. It was no damn draw. 46-year-old old man was styling on Mario Barrios' ass. And can I be honest with you? If Mario Barrios was consistent with his combinations, he probably would even could have TKO'd Manny Pacquiao.
He gave him too much respect. When he hurt Manny Pacquiao multiple times in the exchanges, but he stopped. He stopped throwing his combinations. And I've seen Mario Barrios when he fought like what's that boy named? The little yellow boy. Everybody, no, Tank ass. Yeah, he was styling on Tank ass until Tank stopped him. And I'm like, he could stop Pacquiao if he press him. But he was just too nice. He was just too passive. He was showing them too much respect. And then Pacquiao started piecing his ass up, looking like the old Pacquiao. So I agree. I didn't think that Barrios won that fight. He was too nice in that fight for me.
Yeah, Bam Rodriguez is a problem. Yep, Mr. Shelton. They don't want to use the N-word treatment. They want to get the they want to use the N-word, but they don't want the N-word treatment. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Coach, what was your thoughts on the Pac-Man versus Mario Barrios fight?
First and foremost, I think Pac-Man won. That's first of all. Second of all, I think JB was right. Many instances, well, to me, arguably, I feel like Barrios lost his last two fights, truthfully speaking. And that Mike Tyson, Jake Paul undercard. I think he lost that fight too to keep it a buck. That's the reason why everybody at 147 won't fight Barrios. That was the reason why. Of course, he moved up, but had old boy blanking on his name now. He wanted to fight Mario Barrios too because at 147. As far as I'm concerned, Barrios fool. You know what I'm saying? So that's
That's
why
why Keith
everybody want to
Thurman
fight
fought
him,
him.
huh?
That's why Keith Thurman fought him.
Yeah. No, I'm talking about Jerron Boots Ennis. Boots wanted to fight him too because
Yeah.
everybody know that at 147, Barrios is food. But anyway, I felt like Pac-Man won, and truthfully speaking, I think Pac back on. I think Pac back on the juice because at this age, I mean, don't get me wrong, Mario Barrios is tailor made. He tailor made for Pac-Man because he flat footed, he come forward. You know, he don't use no head movement. His footwork is trash. You know, that's why Pacquiao, he wouldn't dream of fighting Devin the Dream Haney. But at the end of the day, I felt like he won the fight, but I still think he back on the two to keep it a buck.
I ain't surprised. Like, some people say you don't know that, man. I don't put nothing past none of these fighters, bro. Um, but yeah, uh, Brent. No, I'm gonna go with Big Joe. Big Joe, what's your thoughts? What was your thoughts on the fight?
All right. What I think about the fight. You know, we all watch wrestling here, or we used to watch wrestling. Remember how I used to watch wrestling, and you see they both of the guys they be leaning on each other, whispering words to each other, and then they do a whole sequence, or they be laying on the floor, and then one will tap each other, then they do a move. That's what that fight remind me of. It was a lot of olaying, a lot of okay, my turn, okay, your turn, so again, I don't know if Mario Barrios was giving him too much respect or that's what he was told to do. You know what I mean? So
There's something to that,
um
Big Joe, and I ain't mean to cut you off because you remember when Mario Barrios was in the corner and his coach was telling him specifically, "Don't shake hands with this man. He trying to dictate the fight." When he's talking about trying to play to the referee about him being hit low, if the referee don't stop it or the referee don't ever hand you, you keep fighting. And then
yeah,
what stuck out, he specifically told Mario Barrios, do not shake hands, don't show him no respect. And on two occasions when he was told that before he went out in the round,
He
just
did
make
it anyway.
did it anyway. So there's something to that, Big Joe. Go ahead.
yeah, I mean, yeah, I've seen a lot of handshaking, a lot of glove touching, a lot of pretty much before and after every round they would touch gloves. I'm like, bro, you ain't gotta do it at every round. Okay, before the fight, maybe. After that, if you trying to win the fight, you ain't trying to show him no respect. So he could have been instructed to told that, or he could have been starstruck. You know what I mean? So, you know, um, Pacquiao is a legend. He is a Hall of Famer. A division world champion, all that kind of stuff. So he could have been in there and said, "Wow, I'm really fighting Pacquiao." You know what I mean? And he could have got caught up in what Pacquiao was doing. You know what I mean? So it could be a number of things, but I definitely don't feel like Barrios put his best foot forward to win. Because again, when he fought Javante, he was beating Javante till he got dropped. You know what I mean? So Barrios can fight when he want to fight, but he'll throw one, two, three punches, step back. Two or three punches, step back. One punch, step back. And he was low key letting Manny, tee off on him. So as I was watching the fight, I'm like, Mario don't look like he's trying to win. And it look like there's a lot of olaying to me. I mean, a good old, WWE Royal Rumble. I'm about to tap you on your elbow. I mean, I'm throwing you over the ropes, all that kind of stuff. So overall, the fight looked like it sold out. There's a lot of people in there. So I'm sure Pacquiao's check gonna clear, Mario's check gonna clear. It's a draw, so you know what I mean. So it don't embellishes nobody's record. I don't know what Mario's gonna do next, but a lot of folks say he's the lesser guy, 147. And I'm hearing that Manny Pacquiao may be trying to fight Floyd or whatever, but it was just a glorified exhibition match, that had a belt on the line and everybody, got what they wanted. Pacquiao believe he won the fight. I thought he did too. He was just a more active, fighter, and for him to be 46, 47 years old, moving like that, all I'm gonna say is, from my understanding, there was no drug testing for this fight. And I'm just gonna leave it at that.
Yeah, so we all know that Pacquiao scared of needles.
Yeah, Roger. Shout out, rest in peace to Roger Mayweather. He was one of the first ones to point that out. Yeah, but Brent, what was your thoughts on this fight, man?
First and foremost, shouts out to BFTV for doing a fight call. Otherwise, I wouldn't know what was going on. But
Yeah, salute BFTV.
yes, sir. So yeah, to Joe's point, from what I was hearing, he was definitely showing Barrios was definitely showing Pacquiao too much respect, and actually, there was, and I looked back at like some fight highlights this morning. There was several opportunities for, as someone else stated, for Barrios to follow up. He had him stunned at one time with a straight right hand. He had him stunned with the left hook. All he has to do is follow up on that, and then he could put up a more convincing argument for that particular round. But like one of the brothers was saying, he would just stop. Like he would catch him with a good shot, and he just stop. And I think that was what may have caused Barrios to fight. Like, you're not in there. I get that, you're fighting a boxing icon and probably one of your personal heroes or whatever. But when you in that ring, that all goes away. You're in there, you're in there to beat the guy across from you, or that's how you. I shouldn't be telling people how they feel, how they should feel, or how they should look at things. But for me, if you're in competition with me, regardless of who you are, you lining up with me insults me. Like, you think you're going to be able to do what you want with me? No, sir. I'm going to go in here. I'm going to implement a good game plan or fight strategy or whatever the case may be, and I'm going to work your ass out. Like, I'm not in here to, I'm not in there to be cute and cordial with you or nothing like that. We can do that after, but while we in there, no. Because I feel like, especially in combat sports, well, I know in combat sports, any advantage is an advantage against you. So, like, if you look down at your foot or something like that, you can catch an uppercut. If you look away, if you keep looking away from your guy, like you get ready to take a shot, somebody's gonna come back around with a hook and end it for you. Like, there's no room for chivalry, especially if you fighting somebody. So yeah, to that effect, I think that Barrios lost the fight because he was too respectful, which is weird to say in a combat sport, but yeah. And for Barrios to actually get a draw, he was lucky. From what I was hearing from BFTV, like it was I think it was maybe a 9-3 or 8-4 round, or 8 rounds to 4 type fight. So yeah, I don't think that I think that what you call it was actually looking out for him. Was a white boy named Brown or whatever. He's probably looking out for him. But like, if he were smart, like somebody else was saying, Pacquiao should have won that fight and then maybe get a big money fight, probably against somebody like Tank, who really don't want to fight nobody, but just wants to collect a big old bag. Then you could probably send them both on their way after that particular fight. I think it was General said that. But yeah, clearly the people at BBC and also the officials that probably were under their umbrella weren't clearly thinking about what this potentially could be for Manny Pacquiao. I mean, Barrios, you'll probably give him another opportunity if he loses the belt or whatever when Pacquiao goes away. But for the time being, you know, do the right thing, Spike Lee. Shout out to Spike Lee. Do the right thing and get Pacquiao the belt. Let him fight somebody of a big name, and then you know PBC gets to keep the money in house. But I guess they weren't thinking like that.
I guess not, man. And salute to Jay Barr in the chat. He said, "Salute family in the chat. Appreciate you coming in, always supporting." Yeah, man. I think fattening Mario Barrios up to give the belts away to somebody. I don't know who, but that's what it seemed like to me.
They don't have anybody in PBC that they're going to give. Yeah, that they're going to sacrifice him to. Like if they're going to sacrifice him, they're probably going to sacrifice him to. They should sacrifice him to Pacquiao. But
yeah, man, that was crazy, man. But JB, what was your thoughts on the fight?
I think that Pacquiao won. I mean, Joseph Townsend basically nailed what I was thinking. I think Mario Barrios basically allowed him to win. And just like Brent was saying that, you know, those multiple times where he got Pacquiao was stunned because when Barrios let his hands go, you could see the speed disparity. It wasn't even close. And
Right.
he just stopped. So that makes people think like what Joe was saying, that it was either it was some funny stuff going on where people like you better not knock out Pacquiao, you know, it's WWE type shit. And then, you know, make it like they wanted to give Pacquiao his George Foreman moment, something like that. You know what I'm saying? So we'll see. I mean, we'll see what happens after this. I just think that Pacquiao won, you know, but
yeah, Coach, he is. Yeah, and I agree. Pacquiao won, and yeah, Mario Barrios is food at 147. Yeah, we all know this, man. But yeah, man, it's I know I'm missing a whole bunch of other fights. Any other fights that y'all watched on the undercards that stuck out to y'all?
Gary Russell got a dub.
Yeah, Gary Russell got a dub.
I was gonna say real quick. Like,
go ahead, Joe.
Kobe.
I was gonna say, my bad. I'm sorry. Before we move on, I was gonna say like the whole, you know that the thing that Barrios might have been shocked to be in there with Pacquiao. Like for example, like my brother, when he was in the training camp with the New Orleans Saints, they had a scrimmage against the Dallas Cowboys, and he was going up against Larry Allen. And my brother was like, "Oh shit, that's really Larry Allen," you know. So it took him literally about a practice and a half on to be like, "Okay, look, I know that's Larry Allen, but if I don't play, he gonna dog walk me." You know what I mean? Same way with like Michael Jordan. You know, folks who play Michael Jordan, they say, "Oh shit, that's really Black Jesus." You know what I mean? But you take somebody like a Kobe Bryant, who's like, "Man, I don't care if he's Black Jesus. He's gonna have to see me." You know what I mean? That's the attitude, you know, you're going to have, but everybody don't have that. You know, everybody don't have the Mamba mentality. You know what I mean? So his possibility, he could have went in there, got starstruck, got shell-shocked, or we could have got an envelope. But, you know, it does happen that you could see your idol, you can see somebody you worship, and then you finally in the presence of them, and you just freeze. That could happen too.
Okay. Yeah, he definitely could have had been shell shocked, you know, of the star that is Manny Pacquiao. That definitely could have been the situation. And just in, the General is live right now, 78 Sports TV. We about to wrap it up. After we talk about the Rashee Rice situation, but just in, per 78 Sports TV, shout out to the General. There better not be no damn Jake Paul versus no damn Usyk or Anthony Joshua.
Man, they had a face-off in the ring afterwards. Usyk faced off with Jake Paul. So, hey, won't surprise me.
Black Fight Fan TV said, man, fuck boxing. For real, man.
Yeah, if that happens, man, then yeah, the sport would literally be a joke. Like, the sport would literally be a joke if that fight were to happen. Now, I know that there are several gimmicky fights and stuff like that that go on, but um, yeah, I,
That's crazy, man.
That's sickening.
Yeah,
But then people talking about, well, Deontay Wilder would get destroyed against Usyk. Where y'all niggas at now?
fact.
Somebody that might get, if Usyk don't play no funny games, he might kill Jake in there.
Literally.
He's supposed to anyway, but you know how boxing stuff. We might see another version of the Pacquiao and Barrios thing. And if I see that, I'm bro. If they fight and Usyk go in there and play with him, and I'm like, you better beat his ass like you just did the boy. The boy.
if Jake Paul's a cruiserweight, why don't he fight Jay overtime? Somebody like that. Why don't he fight him? I guess that's too high risk, low reward.
Yeah.
They do it right. You a cruiserweight, go fight the cruiserweight champion.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. But Coach, you was about to say something.
No, I just was saying in terms of last night fights, Sebastian Fundora stopped Tim Tszyu.
Yes.
And of course, Mr. Gary Russell Jr. He came back. He got an impressive win. He calling out Tank again. Tank been ducking this boy for years. Man, come on, Tank, man. Look, bro, you looking bad out here. You got your fight. You got your rematch with Lamont Roach canceled, and you still ducking Mr. Gary Russell Jr. Hey, come on, man. What you gonna do, bro?
Hey, I got a question about that.
Like
Go ahead.
Paul fight up here, but nah. But what you were saying, bro?
I'm sorry, Coach. I got a question about that Sebastian Fundora fight versus Tim Tszyu, which I'm mad I didn't bring it up as one of the topics. Because I actually watched that fight or the ass end of that fight. Well, something broke on Tim Tszyu where he had to retire in the seventh round.
Honestly, bro, I never got to full. Yeah, because I never got the full understanding on that either. But I'm gonna be honest with you. I always felt like Tim Tszyu was overhyped. To be honest with you,
because after that Merchants of League fight, he never been the same.
Yeah, I always thought he was overrated, to keep it a buck. That's just me.
So nothing was wrong with him. He had no audible bone broke or.
To be honest, I haven't heard anything about that. From what I heard was that the referee stopped the fight. I guess it was referee's transgression. The referee wasn't going to stop the fight, by the end of that round, but he let him finish. And then when he got in the corner, from my understanding, either the ref said y'all should stop it or the ref stopped it. That's what I heard. I didn't hear anything about nothing being broke. I just heard that, that either his team throwing the towel or the ref said, yeah, no, you good.
Yeah, I was just just throwing something out there. Was something broke? Well, yeah, was it not necessarily nothing broke, but what happened?
His spirit was broke. I know that. I mean,
okay.
Broken heart. Either one.
Man, because I ain't gonna lie. After that, after was it the 6th or the 7th round? Because I know they stopped it in the seventh, but when did the what was the actual last round? I forgot.
I think it was the start of the seventh. I think.
Okay, so in the sixth round, when he was in that corner and Sebastian Fedora was just pounding on him, pause. Um, he got hurt where he had to like kind of grab on both of the ropes for balance. I do remember that. So I don't know if, and the reason why I asked that question, I don't know if the team saw he still wasn't, he was hurt bad, and he was going coming out to the seventh round, he was going to be finished off, or the referee saw it. Like Big Joe said, referee asked that question, just waved everything, waved the fight off. So, like y'all said, I don't know what happened. They ain't really put emphasis on it.
And then
Well, all I know is that Tim Tszyu looked like a shot fighter. He's not the same, so he should retire. Even though he got 2 losses, he looked like he need to retire. He's not the same person anymore.
yeah, don't give him the same. You did what you could. See, they give all these other fighters.
Exactly. Thank you, Shawala. Yeah, she said, I believe it was his team who made the call to the ref. Okay. Like what Joe said. Okay. But fella, let's go ahead and move on, man. So the Rashee Rice case. The reason why I brought this up, I wanted to chop it up about it because they're talking about just suspending this young man. Those who don't know, he was in a high-speed chase or situation where he crashed his car and he got apprehended by the police. So last year, he was suspended. I forgot how many games he was already in, or was it with the beginning? It was the whole season. I can't remember, but it is pretty much his whole last year was gone. So now, starting of the 2025 season, they're talking about just suspending him for a few games. Now, there's people online that's saying that people as far online, these couch warriors, these couch athletes, going as far as saying that this young brother need to lose his job. He doesn't need to play football anymore. And we have a NASCAR driver. I can't, and his name escapes me. He actually killed someone. Excuse me, deleted someone. YouTube. Of course, it wasn't purposely. Things happen, but no one. It was all on social media and saying, "Oh, he needs to stop driving NASCAR, or he needs to lose his means to live." So, what do y'all think about this, man? Because I get tired of people when things happen to these athletes. And that's one thing I can say I hate about the internet. It gives people who are jealous of these gridiron warriors, who are jealous of them in high school, jealous of them in college, wanted to be them, didn't get the females that they got, didn't get the privileges they got. Now they grown working a 9-to-5 job that they don't like, or their dreams didn't work out. Once they see this on something like this on the internet, they want heads to roll. What do y'all think about this foolishness that goes on the internet regarding when these athletes go through things like that? You want to go first, Brent?
Yeah. I'm gonna get this out. It's just the same racial double standard that they show most of our athletes. Yeah, like you said, if the NASCAR driver didn't have like this whole pushing and lobbying for him to lose his job and for him to be thrown in jail for the rest of his life. Oh, you're a monster, and you killed an innocent human being. So you believe an innocent being, and to pay for that for the rest of your life. Um, Same people that turn around
Hey,
and get
Brent, you cooking, but it sound like we can hear you, but it sound like you're going in and out.
oh, okay, all right. How about now? Is that better?
That's way better.
Okay, all right. What I was saying was it's just a racial double standard. These same people that'll get on black athletes for making mistakes and not, getting on their counterparts or whatever, are the same people that buy these black athletes jerseys and wear their merchandise and all of that. And then they do a whole attaboy, when they're scoring touchdowns and winning games for them. But as soon as I guess outlive your usefulness, you're of no value. And that's how it's always been, unfortunately. This is no different. If Rashee Rice, uh, if Rashee Rice had like a Pro Bowl or All Pro year, I somehow think that this may have been swept up under the rug. But I just
Good point.
I Dante Stallworth had an unfortunate incident where he deleted someone, and he was inebriated or drunk, and because his father is a Hall of Famer, and I'm not sure what his stats were prior to. I guess he was still viewed as valuable in the NFL, so that somehow got settled, quote unquote. So I just think that depending on how high value this particular person or individual may be, determines on this type of these things that can face. I guarantee you, somebody like I don't want to use this guy as an example, but if Justin Jefferson basically does the same thing, then are we really going that hard on him, or are we waiting for September to see how many touchdowns he gets? About
Okay. Um, Big Joe, I gotta go to you, man. Gotta get your opinion on this. What you think, man, about this double standard?
Well, there's always a double standard in society, so you'll have a double standard when it comes to sports. Sports is a microcosm of society, so it's not surprising that that they're saying that, oh, he should be out of the league. I mean, was he racing? Absolutely. Was he going above the speed limit? For sure. Did him and his friends cause an accident? For sure. Did him and his friends leave the scene of an accident without reporting it? Absolutely. Did anybody die? No. Did anybody, get seriously injured? No. So there's no reason why he should lose his NFL career based off of that. Because anytime the mother folks make mistakes, they always say, "Oh, one bad day shouldn't define his life. He's made a mistake and he has a long life ahead of him, and this one thing should ruin his life." Because that's what they all, that's what they do. Because when that guy at Stanford, sexually assaulted the Asian lady on the side on the concrete behind a dumpster, when they were in court, they said the same thing. This one incident should not define the rest of his life, and he only got 6 months, and then he got out. You know what I mean? So that's what they do. I mean, if you want to talk about how Rashee Rice should lose his career, then Donald Trump shouldn't be president. So the same folks who's talking about this brother here, the same folks voted for Donald Trump. So, and I'm sorry to bring this up, brother Brent, but Eminem has a lyric that says, "Ain't nobody rowdier than Roethlisberger in a bathroom stall." You know what I mean? And then we've seen Roethlisberger get into an accident with no helmet on and go headfirst into a car, riding his motorcycle. Nobody said he should lose his career. Nobody says he's being he's the leader of an organization. That's not how you conduct yourself. You need to retire. Nobody said that. So I mean, there's countless examples we can use of the other folks who do things and nobody don't say nothing. But again, sports is a microcosm of society, so they'll down the brothers all day long. But when it comes to them folks, what I mean, nobody what I mean, he's just a young man who made a mistake, and this shouldn't define him. So this is typical, and this shouldn't be a shock to anybody.
Great example, Joe. I didn't even think it at all. Great example.
Yeah, very very good example, man. Coach 67 Sports TV. What are your thoughts?
I mean, we understand what it is. If the pigmentation of his skin was significantly lighter, this wouldn't be as big a deal. It wouldn't be as big a story. His punishment probably wouldn't have been as harsh. And that's the truth of the matter. We living in America. There's a lot of double standards. You can look at, even though it's not in sports, look at the example between P. Diddy and Vince McMahon. You can see it there. Because guess what? You reverse the roles. If Vince McMahon, if the pigmentation of his skin was as dark as mine, he would be under the jail. They would lock him up and throw away the key. But, he got the complexion for the protection. And, going back to Brother Brent when he talked about, Dante Stallworth. I remember when Dante Stallworth was in his prime playing for the Saints, he was a dog. By that point, he wasn't quite the same receiver, but at the same token, he had some gas left in the tank. It was a fatal, tragic situation. To this day, they say for the rest of his life, he wasn't allowed to have a driver's license. So that means he needs a driver for the rest of his life. And, those type of things happen. But at the end of the day, we know what the double standard is, and that's what it is. And, we could pretend like it doesn't exist. We cannot acknowledge it, but that won't get us the results we want. So at the end of the day, yeah, I mean, like Brent said, if he was Tyreek Hill or Justin Jefferson or someone along those lines, yeah, the punishment might not have been as harsh. But an even better example is, had he been like Pupu Nakua, somebody like a Wes Welker, Junior Edelman, nothing probably would have happened. You know what I'm saying? Just my personal opinion.
Yeah, Edelman had some domestic violence charges on it.
Yeah, he did. He did, man. But yeah, but no one's talked about it. But that's what we've been talking about when it comes to the double standard. JB, what are your thoughts?
And I'm just gonna echo some of the things that the brothers been saying. This has been going on the as far as the double standards. Uh, I think Rashee Rice, he needs to. I'm just mad that he should know all this stuff already. He should know. Um, he should be put himself in a better situation. Know that he's not going to be judged like his peers, his his white counterparts, and keep his nose clean, man. I said this last year. The hell you doing racing for, bro? I think you was a rookie, or your first year in the league. What are you doing? What's and then you need to check what girls you around. To vent the boppers you around. You know what I'm saying? But that's the only fault I lay on him. As far as everything else as the double standard, man, you already know what it is. You know? Uh Matt, they talking about uh what's our boy? Justin Tucker. We might bring him back if necessary if I kick or something. And I'm not, somebody gonna sign Justin Tucker, especially if he's still Justin Tucker. The reason why we cut him, but nobody wants to talk about, is because he missed a lot last year as far as kicking. He wasn't as accurate as he once was. He's starting to uh, show signs of regression as far as a kicker. Now, of course, the allegations didn't help. It helped. It made it easier for him to move on. You know, so um, I just want brothers to start making good decisions because you're not, or better decisions because you're not gonna get judged fairly as far as with everybody else. Because everybody keep talking about the Watson situation, but uh apparently this if you watch the Brett Favre documentary, that man used to go to teams and contracts and contract. He went to the Jets. He went to the Minnesota, and he was harassing this one cheerleader. You know what I'm saying? So
Not a
that's why I
cheerleader.
want to
She more
wait.
like was I guess, color commentator. I guess
I think she
something.
was a yeah. You're right. She was a she got famous wearing an outfit in the stands at a college, right? I
Yeah,
think
right. Mm-hmm.
right. Okay, yeah, her. So if you want to sit back and compare about who needed to be out the league and stuff, you know, as far as when you talking about white athletes and black athletes, a lot of people will be mad, and a lot of people need to be quiet. You know what I'm saying? I still think that the Deshaun Watson situation, it was funny to me that all these women he, had these quote unquote massages came out the woodwork when he wanted to get out of Houston. So I still don't find that, as a coincidence, but hey, I just want these, like I said, I'm gonna say it for the last time, as black athletes, as black men, as far as when you get money or come into some money, we need to start making better decisions of who we are around and what we do. Because we're not going to get the same treatment with our white counterparts.
We just not.
That's it.
We just not. Yeah. Yeah, man. Um, but I am glad they're just gonna suspend him. I'm not glad he's gonna miss some games, but I'm glad he still may possibly able to still play football.
He's treading the
You know,
line.
he
I think because he is in Kansas City and he is probably one of their best receivers. That I think that's why he's not getting what everybody else would get. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
And then you got Andy Reid. Andy Reid is probably one of the coolest, fairest coaches in the league. So Andy Reid gonna fight for him. You know what I'm saying? So
Okay. Okay. All right. Well, fellas, man, I want to thank y'all for hopping on the panel with me, man. Take time out of your day just to chop it up, talk about sports. Um, but Big Joe, let everybody know where they can meet you and see you.
Actually, real quick, I was going to see if I could kind of continue the topic we just had a little bit. I
No,
forgot to add
go,
something.
no, go ahead, man. Go ahead. You know how
Uh,
we do. Go
to
ahead.
to what JB was saying, I will add this to it. It sounds good. We will want brothers, what I mean, to do better and to make better choices. But for me, being in the locker room all the way from high school to junior college and college and a little cup of coffee in the NFL, you know, a lot of my teammates were not the most.
Hey, Big Joe,
you
you
cut
cut out,
out, Big
brother.
Joe.
What is it? Can y'all hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
I don't know what's going on. Okay, yeah. So what I was saying is, yeah, a lot of my teammates, they don't come from places where they have the most mental stability. Some of the best athletes, they all come from, we all know where they come from.
Mm-hmm.
So the brother, a lot of the athletes, they have trained their whole life to get to the NFL, but nobody has trained them mentally to prepare to be in the NFL. You know what I mean? So a lot of my teammates in college, they acted a fool. They did certain things like got swept underneath the rug. And of course, when you're the best thing since sliced bread, people are gonna make excuses for you, and people are gonna look the other way when things occur. Whether if you're a white player or a black player, you know what I mean. So you get to the NFL, you're a multimillionaire. You feel like you're unstoppable. You're young, feel like you can do whatever you want. Because if you look back at the old Dallas Cowboys who were winning championships, Jerry Jones looked over a lot of things that them players did. You know what I mean? So that just goes for any school, any NFL team. So a lot of my teammates, they weren't mentally developed. They weren't, whether it was emotionally, spiritually, socially, or whatnot. Because when you come from environments where they tell you to stand in front of the class and only get it, if you stand in front of the class, you get a C. The only thing you're gonna concentrate on is really just play football. And then by the time football is over with, a lot of things are going to be lacking and not developed as if you were fully engaged in other areas. So I would say to the brothers who are athletes, unfortunately, they're going to make mistakes. Like you said, Deshaun Watson went through his thing, and Justin Tucker still ain't learned. Justin Tucker still went on with his stuff.
Mm.
So the athletes are going to make mistakes. The athlete, again, feel like they're invincible. I'm an athlete. I can do what I want. I'm a millionaire. You know, the owner will make things go away. If something happens, the owner will call the police chief, and whatever I just did is not even gonna make the morning news. Especially don't be a good player. If you're a superstar of the team, whatever you did is not gonna reach the light. It ain't even gonna touch the dark. It's just gonna disappear. So, but I would just say is that these brothers are gonna keep making mistakes, even when they had the rookie symposium. Brothers wasn't paying attention. They're still making mistakes then. So we want them to do better, but for these brothers to learn, they're going to have to make mistakes. That's the only way that they're going to learn because they're not mentally mature enough to realize that okay, the brother did this, I'm gonna go the other way. You know what I mean? But the new generation of athletes, there are a lot better money wise when it comes to that. But as far as making decisions off the field, that's always been an issue dating back, 80s, 90s, 2000s, or whatever. So these brothers are going to make mistakes. They're not going to learn because they're just not mentally mature enough, what I mean, to do better. So it is what it is, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's true,
Hey,
man.
let
Go
me
ahead.
piggyback onto that real quick. When I said yesterday that Big Joe don't miss, Big Joe don't miss. That was spot on, and that's one thing I always tried to instill in my players as a coach. Even though it's on the middle school level, I'm like, look, you're gonna go. He's right from the standpoint of a lot of these players come from, they come from difficult circumstances. They may have a lot of trauma from the past. From a socioeconomic standpoint, they come from disadvantaged and deprived situations. So I always try to speak life and speak hope into them, and always try to, you know, give them the tools to make better decisions. And even though none of my players ever really went on to have that kind of success, it made it even worse because at least for those guys that made it to the NFL, there was light at the end of the tunnel. For the most part, you know, uh, the players that I coached never made it that far, but the star players that did like make stupid mistakes. I'm like, look, bro, like you're not a professional athlete. You're not this. You're not that. You need to make better choices, make better decisions. And I used to just try to speak life and hope into them. And I think that commentary that Joe just gave, it was spot on. It was 100% accurate.
And that's when and scenarios like that, that's when it's important to have OGs in your locker room. The
Mm.
veterans, who've been in the league for a long time, they're the ones to help curtail or to help pull the young homie to the side. Hey man, you don't go like this, you do like this. You know what I mean? So that's like a lost art now where they're getting rid of a lot of the veterans. They want to get younger guys and stuff like that, which is cool. But when it comes to gluing up the locker room and developing players, because in the NFL, they don't develop players. The locker room does that. So if you don't have that
Mm.
culture You're gonna have these players, you know what I mean, who are gonna make mistakes, you know, and like I was saying, most of my teammates, they come from impoverished backgrounds, they come from the hood, the ghettos, or whatever. A lot of my white teammates, they didn't come from that. You know what I mean? They had two-parent household, you know what I mean? They didn't nope. You never see the coach going to a trailer park to go get a white athlete. You don't ever see that. But they do go to the hood to get them brothers, you know what I mean, you know what I mean, to go out there and play. So you know, most of my white teammates had two parents households. You know, they dirt bike in the summer and all that kind of stuff is just different. You know what I mean? Or you know, even if they are athletes, even if they wasn't, they were fully developed because they had coaching their whole life. You know, they had personal trainers and stuff like that. So it's just different. So our brothers are gonna keep making mistakes. You know, because of just what's going on. And again, you can if you have a coach who's excusing everything that you do. You know, if you're a 5-star athlete, you know the coach is going to excuse you. You know, their NFL coach is going to excuse you. So when you're going to learn from your mistakes to where you're going to have to mature. So we've seen what happened with Antonio Brown. Eventually, everybody started making excuses for him. And you see what happened to him. You know what I mean? So if Antonio Brown would learn that lesson when he was in college or early on in his career, his manhood training will be a lot better than what he is now. You know what I mean? So, but you know, unfortunately, that's just where the state of the athlete is right now.
That's true, man. And y'all so right, man. Because yeah, these kids are going, especially if they're coming from a broken home or trouble situation, as far as their background, um, they're gonna bump their head. And then on top of that, you give them some money. Shit. Um. So yeah, you're right, but it's still, like you said, that's why it's important with the OGs. Because look what 86 Ghost put. He said C.J. Gardner Johnson said Michael Jenkins saved him.
Yeah,
That's exactly what you're talking about, Big
I
Joe.
mean, another perfect example. He never made it to the league was Noel Devine. Noel Devine was a beast coming out of high school, but
West Virginia, right?
Deion Sanders literally had to save him. You know what I mean? So he eventually went to West Virginia, and he wasn't the same player. But if Deion didn't step in, he wouldn't even went to college. You know what I mean? And Ocho Cinco shares his story. He done bounced around to multiple schools and he only played 1 year at Oregon State. So it's just, and not to say these are all the athletes. A lot of brothers out there who do the right thing and they make it happen. You know what I mean? So it's not like a lot of these brothers all make mistakes and then the Rashee Rices or the Ray Rices or the brothers who get a spotlight on them. They're not the majority, but it does happen. But again, it's you got to have the veterans in the locker room to get. You got to have an Aaron Donald. You got to have a Shannon Sharp. You got to have a Cam Hayward. You got to have a strong presence that's going to pull these guys to the side and tell them, how to be a professional. You know what I mean? Again, these brothers have been taught their whole life how to play football, but not how to be men. You know what I mean? So, and that takes if you don't come from a two-parent household, if you don't have a strong father figure in your life, you're gonna bump your head more than once. So
That's true, man.
And real quick, since we cooking, and I know we trying to wrap it up here. I just want everybody to take real quick. What do y'all think about since we I heard Ocho Cinco? What y'all think about Chris Carter taking shots at Ocho, saying that he's not a Hall of Famer?
um,
Oh,
pers- personally, go ahead, Brent, go ahead.
no, go ahead, Joe.
Personally, I don't think Ocho Cinco is a Hall of Famer. He's a phenomenal wide receiver. He's definitely a well liked person. Somebody that you can easily get along with, but I don't think he's a Hall of Famer in my eyes. I don't. Again, he was great route runner, phenomenal player, a top player during his time. But I don't think he's a Hall of Famer. You know what I mean? Again, like Chris Carter did say, he didn't have multiple touchdown years. So if we talk about Hall of Famers, We are talking about Calvin Johnson, Jerry Rice's, the Tim Browns, the what's the brother's name? The brother who just retired, Julio Jones. You know, you got to put him in that same
Jimmy
category.
Smith.
And yeah, Jimmy Smith and Ocho Cinco is just not that. You know, we all love Ocho, but he was a top pro. Is he a Hall of Famer? I don't think so.
I think he'll eventually get in. Probably after probably the Hall of Fame committee give him some grace, but after they put in people like Jimmy Smith and Fred Taylor, after all them cats get in, but yeah. But technically, he's not a Hall of Famer. But I just think he gonna get in. I think he's gonna get in. It's my opinion. Um, what you about to say, Brent?
Oh yeah, man. Just taking like the personal feelings and aspects out of it. Statistically, no. Chad Ochocinco is not a Hall of Famer. Um, you know, but I think in his era, and I think this is where a lot of us fans kind of get caught up in his era, he was a very dominant receiver. But, that span of an era in the NFL is really only 3 to 4 dominant years. So we're maybe looking at that 3 to 4 dominant years and be thinking like, oh yeah, well, why wouldn't he be? But we're not looking at like the entire body of work. Unfortunately, the career surrounding that is a little bit too inconsistent for him to be considered a Hall of Famer right now. But to you all's point, I think that yeah, eventually he will be, but statistically, no, he's not a Hall of Famer. Um, the message is true. The delivery for the message, excuse me, I'm sorry, was just not uh warranted or whatever. But yeah, the Chris Carter's right. He's not wrong. Statistically, if you're looking at it, no, he's not a Hall of Famer. But the delivery of the statement was. So, and then coming from Chris Carter, I mean, it's not. Yeah, he's showing more and more of himself every day, and it's extremely disappointing. That's it.
Yeah,
I think
yeah,
it was the reason why I said that because it was random, and I think it's just clout chasing because he trying to build up his podcast. Um, the reason why that's why I was asking that question because it was random. And if you watch the nightcap show, that was pretty much Ocho Cinco and Uncle well I ain't calling him Shannon Sharp's response. He was like, okay, that was random. And then Ocho don't care. He was like, I did what I did. But he said, now if you gotta, we can go 1-on-1. You know what I'm saying? I'll rock your ass up now. Like, Ocho's gets competitive, uh, even after he's, done playing football. So I was like, I see what Chris Carter is doing. He's trying to build his podcast over there, so he's trying to go viral. So
yeah.
Well, let me kind of give a real quick counterpoint. Uh, Honestly, Chris Carter, his persona for a lot of years in the NFL was that of a like devout Christian man, and kind of the Brent Fox's point. Uh, I think he kind of tarnishing his image, in my personal opinion. But we talk about stats. Like Chris Carter had 1,100, essentially 1,100 receptions. Chad Johnson had 776. I'm sorry, 766. Receiving yards, Chris Carter had 13,899, and Chad Johnson had 11,059. yards per reception, Chris Carter had 12.6. Chad Johnson had 14.4. The only real category that Chris Carter really smacking Chad Johnson is in touchdowns. Chris Carter had 130 and Chad Johnson had 67. And in terms of like 100-yard games, Chris Carter had 42 and Chad Johnson had 31. But when you look at in terms of the amount of years, realistically, had Chad Johnson not fallen off and not kind of got sidetracked and let his ego get the best of him or whatever, had he played as long as Chris Carter, statistically his numbers would be even better. But he did dip off at the end of his career, especially when he went to the Dolphins. So truthfully speaking, for Chris Carter to say like he was so much better than Chad Ochocinco, maybe you had a longer career, you are a more consistent wide receiver, and you put up better numbers. Yeah, I
And
would
play
agree.
with better quarterback.
Yeah, he definitely had better quarterback play. Really, you know, outside of when he was with Carson Palmer, there was a lot of inconsistency in terms of Chad Johnson, in terms of quarterbacks he played with. But at the end of the day, for you to act like your career was so much better than Chad Johnson, yeah, you had more yards, definitely had more touchdowns. But from a yard standpoint, it wasn't a huge jump, like less than a couple hundred yards, really. I mean, a couple thousand yards, really. But at the end of the day, I'm gonna just be truthful. Like Brent Fox said, it's not so much the message that I have an issue with; it's more his delivery. But if Chad Johnson would have had his long career as Chris Carter, his numbers would have been way better than Chris Carter. So for him to say he's not a Hall of Famer, I disagree. I think the only category he really like mossing him in is receiving touchdowns, and that's pretty much it. But I think Chad Johnson, if Chris Carter a Hall of Famer, I think Chad Johnson is. That's in my personal opinion.
That's real, man. And don't let me break out the Willis McGahee and Terrell Davis example. Look at them. We know Willis McGahee is not a Hall of Famer, but look at his stats.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep.
Willis McGahee got better numbers. And don't get me wrong, I'm not stupid. Terrell Davis has multiple Super Bowl rings, and he had a 21 touchdown, and before that year, 1997, he had 15 touchdowns, and the following year, 98, he had 21 touchdowns. So he was taking advantage of that Broncos offensive line. But if you compare Terrell Davis, who was in the Hall of Fame, to Willis McGahee's stat, you can go to Pro Football Reference and look it up. Willis McGahee has slightly better numbers.
Yeah, I think it's still an example of people kind of getting swept up in that era that he was in, where he was very, very dominant. I think TD was part of the 2,000-yard club, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, but yeah, I think people got caught up in that dominant era that he's in, and then they automatically assume that with Hall of Fame because of that era. If Willis McGahee had some sort of quote unquote error like that, then he'd probably be in too. But I just think that the error that he was in, or that dominance that he had for a certain period of time, was the thing that actually got him in, not his actual raw numbers.
Facts, man. Facts. So that's the and like with Big Joe, everyone was saying, technically, Chad Johnson, statistic wise, is not a Hall of Famer, but the people that you already have in there, you can put Chad in after you put the people that need to be in.
Yeah, true. Because I think Michael Irvin got in, and he only had I think it was 12,000 and some change receiving yards, which is maybe just 1,000 over what Chad have at the very most. So I mean, you can put him in there, but I just It's just gonna be much later, probably.
I hear Big Joe over there groaning.
I'll say this in the all decade team for the 2000s all decade team for wide receivers you have Marvin Harrison. Chad Johnson was not better than Marvin Harrison. Torrey Holt. Do y'all think Chad Johnson was better than Torrey Holt?
I mean, it's debatable, but for me, no.
Okay.
Can I be honest with you? Torrey Holt was a damn good wide receiver, but in my opinion, he benefited off of having another beast on the other end, Isaac Bruce.
But you can say the same thing about Chad. Chad had Bruce Mazzata over there on the other side too.
Man, you can say the same thing about Michael Irvin, man. You said the same thing about Michael Irvin. He had Emmitt Smith.
See, there you go. See that? See, we can have. And I'm sorry.
Okay.
That's a whole different style of play, though. Like back in the '90s and stuff like that, it was basically run first and then pass. But like when it started getting in the 2000s, it started balancing out, and then the era that we're in now, obviously, it's more of a pass first type thing.
Yeah, but, my bad. I was cutting that. I was saying so the all decade team for wide receivers for the year 2000: Marvin Harrison, Torrey Holt, Randy Moss, and Terrell Owens. Those are your 2000s all decade.
Yeah, and I can't debate that.
Can't argue with that.
Can't debate that.
Can't argue with that.
So basically, what you saying, like, and thank you, fellas, for answering my question. I wanted y'all perspective. So, what some of y'all brothers are saying that he technically not supposed to be in there, but what you saying, Jared and Coach, that he can go in like an honorable mention, Hall of Fame when everybody else like Fred Taylor and Torrey Holt and the brothers who've been snubbed every year supposed to get in there. He can get in there like 5 or 6 years later, something like that.
Well, I'll say this about Ocho. So Ocho,
right,
two-time first team All Pro, 1-time second team All Pro. He's a 6-time Pro Bowler, and he led the league in reception yards for 1 year. Now you go to Calvin Johnson. 3-time first team All Pro, 1-time second team All Pro, 6-time Pro Bowler, 2-time NFL receiving yard leader, 1-time NFL reception leader, NFL receiving leader. He did that 1 time. He's a 210 All Decade team. He's the Detroit Lions all-time wide receiver leader. You know what I mean? So. Only reason why I'm putting him compared to Calvin Johnson is because both of them don't have Super Bowls and stuff like that. You know what I mean? So, you know what I mean? It's kind of just balancing that out. So, I mean, Chad Johnson was a hell of a player, for sure. Is he a Hall of Famer? Because remember, Dion was saying they're making to where there's different rules in the Hall of Fame now. You got Hall of Famers, and you got guys who just in there. So is Chad Johnson getting in because we like Chad Johnson, we're giving him sympathy? Or is he really a Hall of Famer?
You know who Big Joe acting like? You remember that black coach on Rudy? When that other white coach was like, Rudy's working hard. He's working harder than half of the other dudes. The black coach like, not in my backfield. Not in my backfield. That was Big Joe. Chad Johnson will not be in his Hall of Fame. He backing it up with stats.
I'm just saying, just compared to the guys in his era, Chad Johnson is a Pro Bowler. He's a phenomenal talent. All the young guys look at him and admire him and stuff like that. Chad Johnson was that dude, absolutely. But is he a Pro Bowler? I mean, I'm sorry, is he a Hall of Famer? Is he really that's for the elite of the elite.
So the rules, no. So, I love that. I hear what you're saying, and I agree. And if they put people in the way what they say, how the criteria is supposed to be, no. But have they been doing that for the past 20 years? Absolutely not. So That's why this
Well,
argument that
technically, Terrell Buckley ain't supposed to be in the Hall of Fame because I mean Terrell Buckley. Terrell Davis is not supposed to be. I don't give a damn if he had two historic seasons. He only played 7 years in the NFL, and there was other backs that had. And then, of course, Super Bowl champion. But there was other backs that's played in the NFL
had a
that had
better
way
body of
better
work
numbers. Yeah,
and
and been in
was
the
better.
NFL
Right.
longer. That's all I'm saying. So if
All right. I mean, if
if
we
we
doing
gonna
that,
say that,
what about Gale Sayers? Gale Sayers didn't play that long, but he was extremely impactful though. What
now
about Gale
I ain't
Sayers? And
gonna
if we're going
lie,
by that
I may
analogy,
be I may I may what's the word I'm looking for?
Hypocrite.
I may be a hypocrite on this. When it comes to the OGs who laid out the groundwork for the game, like Gail says and everything, I kind of back off of them. You know what I mean? Because they were the granddaddies of how the game was played back in. Then so the
Well,
stats is not.
they had to get called nigga and them pile ups. You everybody in here played football before. Them pile ups when you in them pile ups during a tackle. Them crackers was kicking them in the nuts, and I got it. Hell yeah, they deserve to be in the Hall of Fame.
So Big Joe, in terms of the head-to-head comparison, Chris Carter and Chad Johnson, really the only differentiating thing for me is the touchdowns. So based on that, would you say Chris Carter was a lot better than Chad Johnson in your opinion?
You could arguably say that Chris Carter benefited from having Dante Culpepper as his quarterback. You could say that he benefited from having Randy Moss as a
Moss on the
teammate
other
at one
side,
point.
yeah. And
You
Robert
know what I
Smith in
mean?
the
So,
backfield, yeah.
man, you can say that too, but the numbers are the numbers. You still got to catch the ball. And a lot of folks have said that Chris Carter had some of the best hands during his time. And
He
He
did.
did. He
and for
did.
somebody who wasn't Chris Carter wasn't the fastest. Chris Carter didn't have speed, but he had phenomenal route running. And nobody in that era says that, oh, Chris
He
Carter
did.
wasn't that good. Chris Carter was a dog. Chris Carter was number one wide receiver until Randy Moss got there. But you can say, like, yeah, you said he had over 100 and some receiving touchdowns. You can't argue against that. Chad Johnson got 67.
Yeah, I
So
mean, realistically, that was the only category he really smacked him in. He almost doubled him
right,
in touchdown, doubled him right
yeah,
around that.
man.
But
Hey man,
outside of
that's
that category, everything else was kind of close. That
and,
was the point I was
and
making.
man, as a wide receiver, you get paid by catching touchdowns, player. So in that case, Chris Carter got paid.
Yeah. So aside from him being not being a Hall of Famer thing, did you like the way like Chris Carter was kind of? I'm not gonna lie, I felt
No,
like he was
no,
disrespectful.
no. Yeah, now again, we're in the social media era, the cloud chasing era. You're trying to get traction to his podcast, stuff like that. So they're gonna say shock jock stuff, outlandish stuff to get some more traction. Everybody does it. So what I mean, this is nothing different than anything else. So ain't no different than a whack 100 or a Charleston White. This is just the era that we live in now. But I will say, for if we're talking about players who had short careers and still made it to a Hall of Fame, perfect example of that is Patrick Willis. You know what I mean? So Patrick Willis is an example of somebody who didn't play that long and ain't nobody discrediting anything he did. He only played like 8 years. You know what I mean? That injury killed his career, but he was he was a Pro Bowler every year, Defensive Player of the Year, Rookie of the Year, all that kind of stuff. So you can still have a short
And
career and still make it to the Hall of Fame.
Big Town just brought something up that I think we were missing accidentally. Even though I think Chris Carter's always been he was a phenomenal player, but he's always been a hating ass nigga to me. But
Oh
uh,
yeah, for sure, for sure. Oh yeah, for sure.
but the reason why he's in the Hall of Fame not just because of that, but his peers said he's a dog.
Yeah, yeah,
Deion Sanders said he was tough. He one of them players where
yeah.
his 40 he had the Jerry Rice effect where his 40 times wasn't fast, but he'll run right past you because he had underrated, speed as a receiver, and he was a good route runner and had good hands. Patrick Willis, same situation. He's in the Hall of Fame, like Joe said. He didn't play that long, but everybody around him said he was a dog and was hell. All his peers, and I'm talking about Pro Bowlers. All NFL teams say that
Present, past,
Patrick.
everybody. Hall of
Yes,
Famers say he a
yes,
dog. You know what
So
I mean?
would you?
So
yes.
So then my other than minus Chris Carter. So you saying the only way somebody like a Chad Johnson can make it in the Hall of Fame if it overwhelming amount of his peers who are in that high echelon already on Hall of Fame or waiting to be in the Hall of Fame to give the okay.
That yes, his peers would say, "Hey, man, this dude was one of the best." You know what I'm saying? Regardless of who was around him and who he was going against, he was a problem. And to be fair to TD Terrell Davis, I think that's probably why he got in the NFL Hall of Fame because everybody around him said that he was the truth. You know what I'm saying? Just like Sterling Sharp. Sterling Sharp just got in the Hall of Fame, and um, we hear Deion Sanders saying that he was the truth. He was one of the best players before he got hurt. That was in the league. He was the best receivers in the league. So it is what it is.
well, another thing to consider too is that Chad Johnson is notoriously known for getting locked up by Darrell Revis. Now, if you're a now if
Mm,
you're now if you're a Hall of Fame wide receiver, can't nobody lock you up. Yeah, you gonna
right.
yeah, he may get you and you may get them, but it's notorious that he didn't got locked down by him every time
Yeah.
they played. And
Yep.
some other guys that got him too. You know what I mean? So there's no
Ooh.
way, Chad, there's
Ike
no
Taylor
way.
got him.
Hey, I mean, so then we look at some guys who in the Hall of Fame. Who didn't lock down Calvin Johnson? Nobody. He didn't got double team and triple team
Randy Moss bombed Reeves Island.
but
He bombed
I
that
mean,
motherfucker.
that's what I'm saying. But I'm saying like the Calvin Johnson then got
Well,
double
Revis
team and
said
triple
nah,
team
boy. Nah.
like Aaron Donald. You know what I mean? Who didn't lock down Tim Brown? Who didn't lock down Jerry Rice? You know what I mean? So that's the level of dimension you have to have. You're gonna be a Hall of Fame. You know what I mean? So and Chad Johnson has been a numerous visitor on Revis Island and he couldn't get off multiple times.
Yeah, he was stranded
That's
for a
true.
long. Yeah, for a lot of them times he was stranded on Revis Island.
Hey, man.
Hey,
So,
let's
and
keep it a
again,
Good
buck.
point.
that's okay. Revis is a Hall of Famer, but that's who you when you talk about Hall of Fame, that's who you compare it to. You know what I mean? So
Well, I mean, Reeves Island was on the run where he was locking down everybody. That same season, he locked down Ocho Cinco twice. He locked down Randy Moss twice. He locked down Antonio Gates. Pretty much everywhere he went, he locked you on Reeves Island. So that season there, he just was on a tear. You know what I'm saying? Now, in terms of
Right.
other Hall of Fame caliber players that have been locked down, I mean, hey, let's keep it a buck. Not a whole lot of people could do nothing with oh boy shucks Michael Irvin. But guess what? When Deion was with the 49ers, guess what? He locked up Michael Irvin. On the other side, they doubled Alvin Harper. Then he said, all right, you know what? I'm tired of locking up Irvin. Y'all double Michael Irvin, and I'm gonna go lock down Alvin Harper. So I mean, then I had instances where Hall of Fame caliber receivers have been, locked up. Now, like you say, maybe not in multiple instances. Yeah, but I mean, if we're gonna use the
oh
Reeves
yeah.
Island example,
Oh yeah,
Island,
no. Oh yeah.
for a few
Oh
years
yeah,
I
he
ain't
was
gonna
no.
locking
lie.
down everybody.
Oh no.
In a
I mean
prime, Ty Law and Champ Bailey used a lot of star Pro Bowler wide receivers
hmm
down.
hmm I mean, again, this is the NFL. They all getting paid up there. This is the best of the
Hmm.
best. So Aaron Donald didn't got double teamed and fell over. It happened to everybody. You gonna get locked up. You gonna get blasted. Ray Lewis they got ran over. He done knock niggas out too. But what you doing the next play? What you doing the play after that? what you gonna
Yeah.
do the next game?
Shout out
You
to
get
Eddie
what I'm
Jordan.
saying? So Dion may have locked down Michael Irvin, but Michael Irvin then got a touchdown or two on Dion too.
Yeah,
You
he
know what I
sure
mean?
has.
So you
He
know
Mhm.
what I
wore
mean?
him out when he
So
was
I
in
mean,
Atlanta.
you know what I mean? So that's what so that's that's what we're talking about. And but like I said, Chad Johnson, he's a phenomenal athlete, a dog. Nobody gonna say he's sorry. But comparing him to the guys who were in the Pro Bowl, who deserve to be there, he just don't have it.
Yeah, Big Joe, you make a great argument. My thing is, when you talk about Chris Carter, the first part of his career, he was, the synonymous for, tooting the book of sugar. And then the back end, he was this, pristine Christian man and man of faith and man of God and this, that, and the third. It's just disappointing in 2024 and 2025. He cutting jigs, he a bootlick, he hating on other guys just to get his name out there. Like you said, I mean, essentially, he done reduced himself to being a whack 100, Charleston White type of character. And to me, it's not a good look for him considering that he did such good work to basically to be this great redemption story and to be this mate, this great man of faith. Like you can't be a great redemption story and a great man of faith, and you always, trying to piss on other people. You know what I'm saying? That's my issue I got with Chris Carter.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure, already.
Yeah, y'all. With social media, man, it unfortunately gives people a pathway to show who they really are. So this been in him the whole time. It's just one of those things, man. The less I know about some of these folks, the better, man. Because
Man,
this is extremely disappointing.
I knew Chris Carter was a Sambo when he pulled that mess with Ray Lewis. Ray Lewis wanted to slap him on air. and I ain't gonna lie, it was awkward when Ray Lewis tried to scramble and clean that stuff up. But it was putting y'all remember that when Chris Carter put Ray Lewis on black about
Are
when
you talking
he
Yeah,
about his case or whatever?
about the case, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I think it was what's the boy that kept getting knocked out?
Greg Hart.
That played Greg Hardy. So it was a Greg Hardy situation, and they were talking about how what's things like this against this domestic violence against women and shit like that, and then Chris Carter got on his tank and said, and then he
Get all
just brought
emotional.
up emotion. He got emotional and brought up Ray Lewis stuff. So Ray, when you was dealing with your situation, I want you out of the league. I want you out of here. And Ray was like, "What the fuck?"
you talking about NFL Game Day on
Yeah.
ESPN?
And whatever the NFL game day is.
It was live, yeah.
NFL prime time. Yeah, NFL prime time. Yeah,
And
but
then
I
the
If I
whole
mean,
ass
remember this
nigga put his
correctly,
mom.
didn't go
He put his
ahead.
mama out there too. Like he was saying, my mom did, my mom abused him and stuff like that, and saying that, basically parents beating, well, whooping, spanking their kids and stuff like that. And it was just got like,
Damn.
nigga, I don't like Chris Carter.
Yeah, yeah. The more I find out about him, the less I like, brother. I'll just leave it
Well,
at that. It's
I
crazy.
say, I done met a lot of these brothers, and like they say, a lot of times you don't want to meet your favorite superstars or whoever you whatnot because you're gonna see who they are. And I done been around them, and yeah, some of them they will disappoint you for sure.
Mm,
and I mean, just truthfully
I
speaking,
know you ain't lying. Yeah.
you
Yeah.
ain't lying.
I mean, just imagine if they had social media in the 80s and 90s. Some of these people that we hold in such high esteem and high regard, we might not view them the same if they had social media in the 80s and 90s. I mean, that's just my
All
personal
right.
opinion.
Definitely not.
That's true, man. But good conversation, y'all. Let's go ahead and wrap it up. We'll be on here
My bad,
forever,
Jared.
man.
My bad. My bad. You
No,
can
it's
blame me
good.
for that. My bad. My
That was
bad.
good. It was
That was
good.
my fault, bro. That was my fault. I put, we was
No,
about to turn
no,
off
because
the stove, and I go ahead.
hey, this is the second day in a row Joe done steered us in the direction of a great conversation. So that's
Yeah.
dialogue, you know what I'm saying? Second day in a row, Big Joe. Like I say, Big Joe don't miss y'all. You know what I'm saying?
Oh
Yeah,
Yeah.
man, I'm
that's
out.
why he
Man, I
Shout
part of
out
the
to the
appreciate
Southern
it.
brother.
Baller Show. That's why he part of the Southern Baller Show. But Big Joe, let everybody know where they can meet you and see you.
Yes, sir. You can catch me on all LDBC platforms, showing love to the brothers and sisters of the mighty. You dig what I'm saying? As far as my usual gentlemen takes, I will say, fellas, it is okay to have a good skincare routine. You know, though you take care of your skin gonna take care of you. You know, they always say, you know, you gotta take care of your liver, your kidneys, and your heart. You gotta do all these things, but don't neglect your skincare too. It don't make you less feminine. It don't make you dainty because you have a toner, because you have facial wipes, because you mask your face once a week to clean your pores out. Women love a man who has nice skin. I get complimented on my skin all the time. My girlfriend always says you have phenomenal skin. So, to our brothers out there, no woman wants to talk to a man who got bumps on his face, critters on his face, and all that kind of stuff. So, it's okay to have smooth skin. So, brothers out there, find you a good skincare routine. If y'all have any questions, holla at the kid. I can get y'all together. But and nothing wrong with having nice, clean, healthy skin.
There you go. No, it's not. No, it's not. And Sister Shawala, yeah, can you do me a favor? Can you after this video, can you put a message? Because I've been trying to give you a wrench, but the moderation system is not bringing up your channel. So if you can just put a comment in the regular comment section, and I can make you a moderator there. But
Hey, Shower, why you got the shame on me? Shower, text me. Well, what did I say that offended you? Let me know. You know we family now.
but Brent Fox, let everybody know where they can meet you and see you.
All right. Well, I have a show called It's Just Me, hosted by Brent Fox on Thursdays. You can meet and greet me there. You can also catch me on the Southern Baller Show, which is on right now. Usually we start off Sundays, 3:30 p.m. Central Standard Time on YouTube.
There it is. There it is. Uh, Coach, let everybody know where they can meet you and see you.
You could catch me at before I get into that, major shout out to our brother Junior the Troop. He was real instrumental in us putting a Southern Baller Show together. The reason being, when we went to the 22 LDBC family reunion in Dallas, my brother Jared 11 Green and I, we forgot to exchange phone numbers, and we was able to use the Punch Junkie network in
Yes,
terms of
sir.
the app and message each other. So he played a vital role in us getting the Southern Baller Show up and going. So major shout out to Junior the Troop. Major shout out to our brother Jay Good. Only reason why Jay Good hadn't been on for a while because he be shaking and moving. He be extremely busy. He said he's supposed to shake free like supposedly in like September, October, whenever. So we looking back to get him on a collective on the Southern Baller Show. But you can catch me at Coach
Yes,
67
sir.
Sports TV on all social media platforms. However, I'm primarily here on YouTube. Friday night, we myself and my brother Jared 11 Green, we had another episode 6 of HBCU Fanatics. On my particular channel, I'm always, dropping some content. I'm getting ready to do another episode of Bayou Sports Talk whenever Big Rude Dog, whenever he not working and constantly being busy. Drop another episode of that. I'm also going to do some more swag talk in terms of breaking down all the swag games from August the 23rd all the way to the end of the season. And, I don't know, might get a couple other episodes of some other stuff. And, of course, we trying to get another episode of the Black Man's Perspective, hopefully,
Yes,
this
sir.
coming Saturday. But y'all come on my channel, check me out. Y'all have a blessed and phenomenal evening. I'll catch y'all on the rebounds. Catch y'all on the rebound. Peace and blessings to everybody. And shout out to the amazing LDBC, you dig?
Yes, sir. And JB,
Man,
any last word?
man, Jay Good is not welcome on the show. We already got one light skinned brother with a beard. We don't need two. There's only room for one of us up here, and that's me. No, I'm
Hey,
playing. Shout out to my
hey,
dog Jay Good. I love you, boy. I love you, boy.
only room for one D1 defensive lineman.
Hey, we only got room for one Suge Knight up here, and that's me.
Oh Lord.
And while I'm thinking about it, man, hey, if y'all like liquor, y'all like whiskey, y'all like bourbon, man, y'all go cop y'all a bottle of Old Hillside, you dick.
Please do.
Already.
Please do. There it is right there. So you know what it looks like. And he put the link in the chat. All right. And JB, any lasting words to get us out of here, man?
Man, y'all have a fantastic rest of your weekend, your Sunday. Have an even better week. And I'll see you when I see you.
All right. Well, this was another installment of the Southern Baller Show. Y'all be blessed.
All right, y'all. Peace.
Peace.